bankers, and thank you for joining us with the instructional video of the BANKPAD, the much anticipated launch pad created by the team at Bank. So today I'm going to run you through how the BANKPAD works, some of the features of BANKPAD, and also how to launch your own token. One of the most exciting things about being able to launch your own token is the ease of doing it, the lack of developers' knowledge that you need to do so, which is generally a stumbling block for a lot of people that have a good idea and want to put something out there to market. With BANKPAD, you can simply jump on, connect your wallet, put all the details in, which I'll run you through momentarily, and then you can actually launch your own token, which is absolutely amazing. We're expecting huge volume through here. Initially, you can start off with Ethereum, but we are adding other chains, and I believe in the next couple of weeks, we're looking at adding Sol, S-O-L, where you can launch your project from on the Sol chain as well. So really, really exciting. The development team in Bank have been working on this for a very, very long time. And although it's been ready, it's been really important to have tested it many, many times and to make some huge improvements, which I think will enable the initial launch and use of BANKPAD to be seamless. And that's the whole point. You know, we wouldn't want to add something on there, get it out there in a rush, and then for some reason it doesn't quite work and it's not all that it's cracked up to be. As part of this, the development and the research that's gone into building something like this, because as we've always said, we want to make sure that what we are producing is the best. And by the best, it doesn't just mean another one out there that does what everyone else does. It means doing what everyone else does, but doing it better and adding a lot of features that a lot don't have at the moment, creating a safe place for people to buy and for people to launch tokens, and somewhere where, the new developers don't need to know much. They can simply go in, launch everything, go in then adjust taxes, adjust different staking things, really, really easy to make the actual running of the project a lot easier. So you don't have this in the back of your mind, how this works. So we're going to run a little bit into the detail now. First and foremost, just about the welcome page. So you can see I've got the welcome page open. Now at the moment, our home page will go immediately to the launch pad. You can see here I've not yet set any tokens. We're going to run through creating our own tokens shortly. And then, of course, launched tokens, which will show you the different tokens that, of course, have launched on the BANKPAD. On the left-hand side here, we have a few different drop-down boxes. We have, of course, private sale, locker, airdrop, OTC offerings, staking, and of course, docs. Now, the docs is the information on all of the above and how you can launch your own token, a GitHub version, essentially, of a Gitbook, rather, of all the information that you will require. Maybe outside of this video, you want to go back in as well. So all that's going to be loaded up shortly. Initially, the Launchpad will be our first utility that is live on here. And then I'm going to run a video on the other ones here, private sale, locker, airdrop, OTC, and staking, so that you can see how they all work as we start to roll them out as well. Now, one thing I will mention on the staking side, this is something we're working on to support projects who will be launching off the BANKPAD, where we will essentially have like a white label version of a staking platform. So you won't need a developer to come in and build you a staking platform. Being part of the BANKPAD and a bank holder, you'll be able to simply just enable that, and then you'll be able to add that to your project as another utility, which is really, really exciting. So without further ado, let's move on to creating your own token. So what we'll do, we'll go over to Launchpad over here, and you'll see the first token is Bahamas. Now I'm going to go back into that in a moment, because first and foremost, we want to launch a token, and then I'm going to show you how to come back into here and you can control your token and the taxes and all those bits and pieces, the tokenomics, etc., through the launch token platform here. Actually, I believe it may even be on my tokens, so I'll take that one back. So nonetheless, my tokens, we're going to go over to create. So first and foremost, you'll see what is the name of the token. So of course you would have come up with something. If not, this is the opportunity to make a name for your project. So at this point, we're going to call it the Bank Project. Okay, so of course this is a test. So what we're going to do is put BANKP as our ticker symbol. Now, just a quick note on that. There is only a certain amount of letters you can have on a ticker symbol. However, normally when you're using Twitter or X, as it's now known, you can have, generally 5 letters allows you to have a hashtag, which is the $ with the 5 letters, which is recognizable as a link, if you like, among Twitter or X. Now, next of all, you have the total supply. Now, this, of course, is up to you what you do. It's not going to make a difference as to the value of your project. What it will allow you to do is just choose how many tokens you want to have a total supply in your project. So let's go in this instance for 100 million tokens, okay? Now, once we've got this supply chosen, we've chosen our ticker symbol, we've chosen the project name, we can then go further down to the Telegram, Twitter, and the website, okay? Now, at this point, we only require a Telegram in order to move on. Twitter and website are both optional at this point. Now, for me, it's nice if you've got a Telegram. As an investor, if you want to look, you generally want to see a Twitter anyway. So, but for starters, you build your Telegram. That can get your token launched. You can then add on to the website and the Twitter and those kinds of things later when you come back in through your management part of the process. So, we're going to put in a Twitter. Okay, so we're going to put the Bank Project, for Telegram. And this point, we're just going to put in the same thing in here, okay, because I've gone ahead and made one that is all fictional, of course. And then, of course, you would put in your website if you wanted to, which would be www.thebankproject.com. Okay, so, and we want to spell it properly, make sure that's good. Now, the thing is, don't forget, if you make an error, you can always come back and fix this later on down the track along here. Okay, so second of all, we have distribution. Now, distribution is quite important. This enables you to allow your team a certain supply or an allocation of the supply. Now, why would you do this? Well, first and foremost, generally teams need some kind of tokens for themselves for later on if they want to list on some kind of exchange. They might want to use these to pay for certain parts, or they might need, for key opinion leaders, for other team members down the track, all these kinds of things. Now, one of the things that we've made sure that this is safe is we only allow up to 16% as a maximum allocation. Okay, so the reason for that is you don't want projects being able to allocate themselves 90%, then they launch and then they sell a huge amount. So doing it this way allows a safe platform and a much better environment and a much better supply across the board for people who are buying, because they don't go, oh no, somebody's got 28% of the supply, which is very, very risky. Everything's about safety here. We want to ensure that we do it safely. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop a wallet address over here. So if I'm just going to grab this from another screen here. Okay, so this is my test address that I'm using for the video. Okay, so now we've set up how our token should be initially distributed. Now, in my instance, I'm going to put in 10% of token supply for the team, which is a total of 10 million based on the fact that our initial supply is 100 million. Okay, so you can see that's 10% of the total supply. That's the address where the supply will go once we launch our token. 10% of that will go initially to this wallet address. Next of all, we have the anti-bot. This is something that is a very, very cool feature, and particularly nowadays with people sniping new launches and all those kinds of things. So essentially what you can do is put in an anti-bot protection. So essentially the features protect your token launch from heavy bots and snipers. You can, of course, change these settings until you renounce your contract. But the idea of this is that somebody doesn't just grab hold of a huge amount of supply in one buy on the first block or anything like that. So you can maximize the max amount of token percentage and wallet per trade. Now, a common thing, particularly at launch, is to have a smaller maximum token percentage per trade. Now, if you want to have a maximum wallet of say 2%, which is a pretty decent normal one. I mean, some people have 3, some people have no limits. You might want 1. That's totally up to yourself. What it means is that the token holders at the top, the most that each wallet can hold will be 2%. The most they can buy at one time or sell is 1%. Okay, so that is the number of tokens that can be traded within a single transaction. So 1% is quite good to start with. If you want to start at 0.5 for your launch so that people aren't sniping up a big amount of the tokens, and then you can increase it as you go, which a lot of projects do, then you can of course make it say 0.5%. Then 2% tokens, as I mentioned, is the maximum a single wallet could hold. So for anybody to take a large amount of supply via a sniping or bot mechanism, they would need to use a lot of multi-wallets. And this is why we put in the next thing, which is called Sniper Auto Burn. This is absolute genius. The team behind the BANKPAD who have built this are an absolute incredible bunch. They've spent so much time in research and development, and this is one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen on any kind of launchpad ever. So you've got this Sniper Auto Burn. Now the point of that is Sniper Auto Burn is enabled and will add an additional percentage or fee, if you like, above the initial tax, which we're going to go into shortly. So 20% tax on buys in the first block. So if we set our initial tax to 10%, then the next tax for the first block will be 30%, okay? And that reduces then to 13.33% on top of 10%, and then 6.66%, and then finally 0. Now, the idea of that is not for the developer or the person launching to take that tax and keep it. What it will do is it will simply buy and burn that additional amount on top of to stop those snipers from taking too much of your supply. Again, safety. So the proceeds from the anti-snipe tax are immediately burned, which in turn reduces your total supply, which is also very cool. So you will not generate additional revenue from this tax and should only use this feature to deter sniping. Now, as you know, sniping is quite a big thing. If you're launching and you've done a few launches in your time and you're quite well known, then a lot of people are probably going to be following who you are and, trying to find out what next projects you're launching. However, if you haven't and you're just simply launching one for the first time, this might not be as much of an issue, but it is good for safety. So that explains our anti-bot protection. Next of all, we have our buy and sell tax. Now, if you've been in crypto any time at all, you understand that there are certain buy and sell tax on each token. Now, this can be 0, this can be 5, this can be anywhere up to 35%. Okay, now I'm going to explain a little bit to you how this works. Now, with BANKPAD, again, because we're focusing on safety, we have a maximum buy and sell tax of 35%. Okay, so 35% here and 35% here. Now, one thing I will mention about this, with the tax at 35%, if you're going to the anti-bot over here and you want to add anti-bot, it will only allow you to have a 30% maximum tax. Okay, that's just to ensure that there isn't an over 50%, because just so you know, anything above 50% on Uniswap cannot be purchased, which would make it awfully difficult for anybody to buy a token when you cannot set the slippage high enough to do so. So the only people that would be able to buy your token in this instance would of course be snipers, and that's one thing we generally are trying to move away from. Now, in relation to the tax, what I would like to mention is the tax structure. So once you're at 35%, you can then move, now I'm using 35 as an example because that is our maximum, okay? Once you go to 35% and what a lot of projects might do is they'll drop it down to say 30%, 25% in the next 5 minutes, 20%, 15 and 10 and so forth and so forth. Once you get to 15%, you can no longer go above 15%. That is the line that is drawn there to stop projects later on lowering their tax to say 10% and then saying, oh yeah, we're going back to 35, and then taking too much tax. That's not a very good thing to do. Because we're basing things on safety, we're making out 15%. Now, here's something to keep in mind. If you start your tax at 5%, you can never go higher than 5%. You can only reduce your tax, not go above your initial tax. So if you were to start, let's say at 15%, then that essentially allows you to go down to 4, down to 2, up to 10, and so on and so on. 15% is the limit. Now you'll see BANKPAD take a 1.5% bank tax, which is a total of 15 days, or when your tax is set to 0. So essentially that bank tax will go back into the banking ecosystem via staking and things like that as well, which is very, very cool. So let's set this for 15% to begin with. So the wallet address we're going to use is of course my sample one, which I put in there before. Okay, and then the next thing we have here is called the treasury and staking. Now, essentially, what this does for you is it allows you to add some funds from that tax to go into a separate wallet to allow you to use those funds to give back to your ecosystem, pardon me, via staking, rewards, or whatever. So if you wanted to add on, say, 3% of all the taxes go into the staking pool, then you would choose this there. Now, generally you would use a different wallet address for this, so it's separate, but in this instance, being an instructional video, I have one test wallet. So you would put that there, and then 3% of all taxes that are generated up here are then put to a separate staking pool to enable you, as I mentioned, to reward your holders or put it into a staking platform, so then you can give them back for people who stake their tokens. Very, very cool. So that is our treasury staking platform there. So that's really neat. So next of all, I'm going to move over to Liquidity. Okay, so here is something very, very cool, very different, something unique to the BANKPAD that others just simply don't have or may not have thought of. There is a couple of options when you want to launch. Now, you can launch on SushiSwap, and you can launch, of course, on Uniswap. This is not normally the case. 90%, if not higher, will only allow you to launch on Uniswap. So SushiSwap's quite cool. It has its own, exchange and its own economy, and loads of people love to launch on there. So it's a good option to be able to go onto SushiSwap as well. And we will have a mixture of V3 as well as V2. So V3, V2 Uniswap, and SushiSwap. Not only that, we can actually allow you to use USDC to pair as opposed to just ETH, which is another unique feature to the BANKPAD. So the minimum is 1 Ethereum for liquidity, matched by 50% of your BANKP or whatever your token is. So 90 million tokens is equivalent to 1 ETH, because of course a liquidity pool on V2 is mixed up at 50% of your Ethereum or USDC, and then 50% of your tokens, and that's how that works. So in this instance, 1 ETH is $2,761 market cap at launch. If you do choose USDC, then you will need to put a minimum of 2,500. So quite often, you might find that most people launch with 2 ETH or 4 ETH, 10 ETH. It's up to you. There really isn't a set rule. It just depends on, if you're doing 20 ETH, then that's how much your liquidity is going to be, which puts your market cap at a higher one, gives you more liquidity and more stability and things like that. So each to their own in that instance. Next of all, we're going to talk about the lock or burn liquidity. So given that you are launching a token, you will need to be able to lock your liquidity. So generally there are 2 ways forward with that. A, locking it. B, burning it. Now, locking it means that it will become available again after the lock period. Burning it means it will not become available again because you're simply sending it to a wallet that can no longer be retrieved. So lock period is a minimum of 1 month. Now, for anybody who's been in crypto a little while, 1 month is generally a minimum that people will use until they feel that the project is maybe got some legs, and then they may extend that to 3 months by using Unicrypt. So to lock the liquidity for a further point, that will be done through Unicrypt as well. So in this instance, we're going to do a 1 month lock. Okay, and you can do it for a year if you want to, you can do it for a month if you want to, you can do it however long that you choose. Obviously, the longer the liquidity lock period, the more safe people feel when they're buying into the token. So you can understand how that makes a big difference. But you must lock or burn your tokens in order for you to go forward and launch a token. Next of all, we're going to go to review and launch. So when you've got to review and launch, you would have filled in your token details, your distribution, your anti-bot, your taxes, your liquidity, and your review is the end part here. Now, we'll mention you can just click over at the top here if you wish to go back, if you've missed anything that you find in the review area here that you want to go back and change. So our token name is the Bank Project. The token symbol we've chosen is BANKP, which of course will be $BANKP. Total supply we've chosen is 100 million. We've put all of our socials in. We've chosen our team supply allocation at 10% and where the team supply is going to be sent, which is at AD5, the address here. 5.5% is the maximum tokens per transaction. 2% is the maximum wallet that anybody can own via one address. We've chose our buy tax at 15%, sell tax at 15%, which of course, as I mentioned, can be reduced or brought back to 15%. We've got the tax address where the tax will be directed once people start buying and selling. And in this instance, we've chosen 3% of our tax will go to the treasury so that we can use that to give rewards to our community. We've chosen 2 ETH liquidity. 90 million will go to pair to our 2 ETH. And that then gives us a market cap launch of 5,521 based on the Ethereum price today. And the token price you can see here, given that we've got 100 million tokens, will be 0.0005521 per token. Now, the LP lock, we've chose 1 month, as I mentioned earlier. Now, the next part here, I want to just run through this. So the BANKPAD service fee is essentially the 0.1 ETH is the fee for us to set all of this up for you. The next one is Unicrypt service fee. So that's simply for locking your tokens. The funds required for Uniswap V2 liquidity pool is 2 ETH. Now that's what you chose over here when you decided how much liquidity you want to pair to your new token. Now, delay trading. This is something very, very cool and something that you will find generally only on here. I can't guarantee it's only here, but I can tell you that it's for sure here more than anything that we've noticed in all of the research we've done in the Launchpad kind of community. So delay trading. Now, this will allow you to delay your optional trading for 60 seconds after the contract is created. So why is that important? Well, if you were to go and use any other kind of launch facility and you click launch, that contract and it is all launched before you even get an opportunity to see what your own contract address is. Now, that's good because if you can delay it, gives you an opportunity to write it down and a minute to kind of set yourself up and get ready for the launch. Okay. The next thing, now I will say at the moment that's free. Okay, that doesn't cost anything. That's subject to change. That may change, but at the moment that costs nothing. Mostly, if you go to launch a token, you press launch, boom, done. You've already missed it. It's already launching. Some people have bought it already, and you haven't even had time to breathe. So that is a very cool function. So we're going to delay trading. The next one is to manually enable trading. Now, why would you use this? So this costs 0.1 ETH at this point. Now, if I wanted to set my token up so I can do a fair launch where I'm going to set it up, I'm going to let the community know what my token address is, we're going to do some advertising within the community, we're going to try and build it up a little bit, and then we're going to set the launch date to be a specific time. That is when you would have manual enabled trading. It's very normal for people to do this. The first one would be called a stealth launch because you've just launched it and it's live. And the next one would be called a fair launch because it's fair in the fact that people have your contract address already, and then it's up to them when they buy at the time that you decide to launch via enabled trading. So if you don't enable trading manually, it will automatically enable after 7 days. There isn't anything you can do about that. We've done that specifically so that people don't start to, delay it and delay it and delay it. That's not what we're about. Everything has been thought of with safety in mind. So next of all, launch BANKP. This is the exciting part. You've done all the work, you've set all your socials up, you've told everyone about it, you've got your manual enabled trading, you're all ready to go, you've built your logo, you've got your idea, it's very, very exciting, and now is time to launch your token. So how do we do that? Simple. You've set it all up, you've done it, it's simple, as easy as anything. To deploy your contract, you can lock liquidity, deploy in contract, you agree to the terms of use, and you simply just click launch. Boom. You now are a developer, just like that. You've gone into BANKPAD, you've set it all up, you've set your socials, and you now have become a contract developer via cryptocurrency. You have your own token. This is very, very exciting, and it was that easy. Now, if I wasn't talking so much, you could probably get that done within a couple of minutes. And what I will just point out to you is I'm not going to press launch at the moment because, of course, this is for an example. When I go back to my home page, it will then bring up my tokens. Now, this is the draft project that I'm just about to launch. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just want to show you that you can then go back, I've changed this to this, I've changed this to this, I want to change my supply to that, review and launch, and then boom, you can hit launch. Once you've launched your token, you can then go and control how it works. Okay, now I'm going to use this one as an example because this is one of the launched tokens. Now, for those of you who know, Bahamas was the first test token launched from the BANKPAD recently. Very successful, very, very good project. And what I want to show you over here is how you then go in and adjust your different kinds of taxes and things like that. Okay, so first and foremost, you'll see your socials and everything up here. You'll see that the liquidity is locked. It will generally have your logo, and then it will have token name Bahamas, token symbol Bahamas, token supply 100 billion, contract address, the deployment date, maximum tokens per wallet, maximum tokens per transaction. And then over here, if I were the developer here or the creator of the token, I could actually then go and change that to a maximum of 15 or whatever it was. If it was set, as I mentioned, at 5 to start with, then we can never go above 5. Okay, so for 15 days, 0.2% of BANKPAD tax was going to the bank ecosystem, and that of course goes back into the ecosystem to the holders of stakers and things like that. So, and development, of course, it's very, very exciting. So that is where we're at. I just want to mention a few other little things. Just having a quick look through my notes here because I've done a few notes. Now, firstly, Solana will next to be live on BANKPAD. So Solana, of course, at the moment is pretty big. So, of course, we're capturing part of that. There's been, nothing really set out there that is as incredible and easy to use as what the BANKPAD is. And we're very much excited to have not only ETH via V3, V2 and SushiSwap, but also Solana. And we plan for that to be live in 2 weeks from this recording date. So we're very, very easy to use. BANKPAD has spent a lot of time, a lot of research to make sure that we are the most unique, most easy to use, incredible launchpad on the market. And we plan to make this a big success. So it's really, really nice of you to join me. And if you have any questions, of course, you can go and join inside the chat and ask any questions about how it works. But yeah, we're very excited to get this out, and look out, Bank is coming. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I really hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you.